Hey there, I'm Joe Carter. If you've ever popped the hood and thought, where do I even start? You're in good company. Around here, we take the mystery out of car repair, one fix at a time. Whether you're a beginner or just looking to sharpen your skills, there's something here for you. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you're into learning without the headaches. All right, that's enough from me. Let's get into it.
Stay within your own lane. Most likely, you have seen drivers cutting a corner while turning at an intersection. Such a situation is extremely unsafe, because there is a crossing of traffic trajectories. In other words, the turning driver is partially driving into the oncoming traffic lane. Of course, this reduces the braking distance for drivers moving towards the turning car. Sporty driving. More than a dozen books have been written about the theory of sports driving and how to be fast on the racetrack. And all successful racers agree that the main thing when driving on the track is to start accelerating as soon as possible. This is necessary to have a greater top speed when approaching the next corner. The logic is quite simple. Most of the racetrack is made up of straight sections. So the faster driver will be the one who takes less time on the straights, not the one who has more speed in the corner. Even on entering a corner, think about the earliest way to start accelerating to the next turn. This is one of the cardinal rules of driving on a racetrack. A braking zone with an entry point into the arc. It is allowed to divide into a braking zone and an arc entry zone. But in general it is not fundamental. The arc, which is essentially a turn. Regarding the arc, you should know about the apex, the point closest to the inner edge of the bend. If we talk about the trajectory, then the apex can be called conditional points on the arc, when the trajectory significantly changes its vector. Thus, when discussing driving technique, you may hear about early or late apex. The corner exit zone, where the vehicle straightens out and accelerates. Basic principles. We hope that the need for a comfortable seat and the correct position of your hands on the steering wheel is a self-evident fact. Therefore, let's pay attention to other important rules. Brake before the entry point into the corner. Braking redistributes the weight of the car to the front axle. This makes the aft end more unstable. If you start turning by pressing hard on the brake pedal, you will either cause a skid or a drift if the front wheels are locked in. An arc under the braking force. When braking or sudden release of the throttle, the front wheels are loaded due to weight redistribution. This increases the traction coefficient. This effect can be utilized in certain situations. It looks like this. The driver directly at the point of entry to the arc releases the gas or sharply presses the brakes and at the same moment begins to enter the turn. To perform this trick correctly, you need to feel the car well, and therefore we do not recommend drivers without proper experience to use this trick at high speeds. The arc must be rolled with the required gear engaged beforehand. If the speed after the corner entry point is too high, light braking is allowed. Under no circumstances should the wheels be blocked. Here many may recall rally races, where the pilots pass the corners in a spectacular skid. It should be remembered that moving in a deep skid is always a loss of time when passing a section of road. In rally, and more precisely the movement on unpaved, snowy surfaces, there is its own specificity, which is a separate topic for discussion. When driving on an asphalt surface, the fastest way to pass a corner is to use the rolling technique, when the car moves without drifting, skidding or in a barely perceptible slip. Trajectory. If the goal is to get the best lap time, you must make the most of the road width. To get through a corner as quickly as possible, you need to take the smallest radius from the entry point to the exit point. In other words, at the entry point you start to turn to the apex. After passing the apex you should start to straighten up, which will end at the exit point on the straight. This is the description of an ideal trajectory when driving on a racetrack. But there are extreme situations in which the trajectory must be changed to gain advantage. Late entry. In this case, the apex is moved toward the outside edge of the turn, and therefore the trajectory is more straight when traveling toward the apex. A late apex allows earlier straightening and therefore acceleration. This is a significant advantage if there is a long straight section beyond the turn. Early entry. Cutting the entry arc is used when overtaking an opponent on the track. The driver starts braking later, heading towards the apex at a greater angle, therefore covering less distance. This blocks the opponent's ideal trajectory and forces him to move to the outside edge of the turn. If the road curve has a complex shape, there may be several apexes in the arc. A bunch of several turns. If the turns are arranged in such a way that the exit point from one turn is immediately the entry point to another bend in the road, then the trajectory should be built so as to have the maximum speed at the exit of the last turn. That is, we sacrifice the ideal trajectory through the preceding last bend of the bunch in order to have an optimal trajectory at the exit of the last turn. To cover all the intricacies of racing maneuvering in one article is an impossible task. For all those interested in the theory of automobile racing and driving in particular, we recommend articles and books by Mikhail Gorbachev, Master of Sports and Champion of the USSR in auto racing. How to avoid skidding, what to do in case of a skid. In conclusion, mastering the art of cornering is essential for any driver looking to enhance their skills and improve their overall performance on the road or track. By understanding key concepts such as trajectory and apex, you can navigate turns more efficiently and safely. Remember, practice is vital. The more you refine your technique, the more confident you will become behind the wheel. So, take these insights to heart, and enjoy the thrill of cornering with precision and control. Thank you for watching, and drive safely.